Today I'm going to be sharing with you exactly where you need to be filing your LLC if you haven't filed already. And if you have filed your LLC, what you should do if you filed in the wrong place, and you figure that out after watching today's video. Ready? Let's do this. If you're new here, my name is Jim Hart. I am an online business lawyer and entrepreneur and YouTuber, and on this channel I share legal and practical tips as well as cat meows about how to start, build, grow, and legally protect your creative online business so that you can live a more abundant life on your terms, from where you want, how you want, and work when you want. Today we're going to be talking all about where you should be filing your LLC if you're just getting started with your online business, and what to do if after watching this video you realize that you filed in the wrong place. And I'll go ahead and apologize right now. Since we've relocated to Portugal, I'm going to have to do these videos from my outdoor terrace. It is too hot right now to do them in our apartment since we don't have air conditioning, and this is the best way to do that. By recording them out here like this, you've got lots of sounds. We've got airplanes flying over, we've got people making noises next door. You know, we're in a very confined space here, so I'm just going to apologize ahead of time for that. Many online entrepreneurs, and you might be one of them, are very well-intentioned and really want to get their LLC started and get their business formed the right way from the very beginning. Unfortunately, and maybe you can relate to this, they get their advice from a non-lawyer, maybe a successful business person who thinks they know what they're doing legally, who tells them that they should file an LLC maybe in Wyoming, because Wyoming has super low fees, no income tax, and it's a business-friendly state. They've also got some great privacy laws. Or maybe you hear from another friend that Nevada is actually a great place to do business because, again, very business-friendly court system. Or potentially Delaware, because every successful business and corporation that you've heard of probably has a Delaware corporation attached to it. But for the vast majority of you, all three of these choices are going to be absolutely wrong for your online business. And you might be wondering, well, what's the big deal? Well, there actually is quite a big deal. The penalties for filing in the wrong state are actually quite severe, and they can include, but are not limited to, fines, financial penalties, interest, court costs, lawsuits, invalidating the acts of your LLC, terminating your ability to form an LLC in that state moving forward, and even voiding the contracts that you have with your clients. So as you can tell, there are some pretty severe consequences if you go about this the wrong way. And if you don't believe me, back in 2018, the Connecticut Secretary of State actually collected more than $1.3 million in fines and penalties from 275 different companies who were illegally operating within the state of Connecticut. And what I mean by illegally operating is that these were people who lived and worked in Connecticut, were operating their business from Connecticut, but they had formed LLCs in other states and had not formed an LLC in Connecticut. So that means they were not operating properly within the state of Connecticut. Or in California, you could be operating your LLC there, but have an LLC formed somewhere else, in addition to civil penalties you could face in the state of California. California, if you have a disgruntled client who realizes you're not operating properly and they don't want to pay your bill anymore, they can actually seek to have your contract with them voided because you're not operating correctly as an LLC in the state of California. So what are you to do? Well, the best answer for you is to file your LLC in the state where you live and work. And this is if you live within the 50 United States. Now, before I tell you what you need to do to file your LLC correctly, I'm going to take a quick water break. I don't have coffee today. We don't have a coffee machine here in Portugal yet. That's coming. But when we do, I'll start taking coffee breaks. But for now, we've got water. Anyway, what are you to do if you are just forming your LLC, you're just starting your online business, and you're not sure where to file? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You're going to file in the state where you live and you work. That's going to be the easiest place to get your LLC filed. And here comes another plane. They come pretty regularly, about every 2 to 3 minutes, so that's not going to be annoying at all. As I was saying now, if you're just getting started, the best place to file your LLC is going to be the state where you live and work. That's just going to be the easiest, and you know you're not going to make any mistakes if you do it in your own state. So that means if you live in North Carolina, like I used to live in North Carolina, you're going to file it in North Carolina. If you live in Florida, you'll file it in Florida. If you live in Wyoming, you know, good for you, you get to file your LLC in Wyoming. But if you don't live in any of those states, then you're going to file in the state where you do live. Now, the only exception I will say to this is if you're filing an LLC for real estate that you own, you're typically going to put the LLC or you're going to file the LLC in the state where you own that real estate. But with the exception of that, you're going to want to file the LLC in the state where you live and work and pay taxes and call your domicile. If you're outside the United States like I am now, then it's really a matter of you can pick and choose whatever state you would like to serve as your domicile. And for us personally, right now we are still domiciled in the state of North Carolina. Towards the end of this year, we plan to change that up to potentially Florida. And the reason for that being that it's really easy to set up a business in Florida and you don't need to worry about paying state income taxes on a personal level for your LLC in Florida. Now, without getting too nuanced in that, if you're living overseas, you're probably not going to pay state income taxes anyway, but you still may need to file a state tax return, and in Florida there's no requirement that you file a state tax return. Now, if you're watching this video and you already filed your LLC in a state where you don't live and you don't work and you're thinking, man, I really messed this up, what do I do now? Well, I've got the answer for you. It's not that hard, but it is going to cost you a little bit of money to fix this problem. And there's really three choices you have for how you can fix this problem. The first option is you can go ahead and just register your LLC as a foreign LLC in the state where you already live. I know that doesn't make sense because you live there, so why would it be a foreign LLC? Well, it's a foreign LLC because the LLC is actually registered in another state, and you need to make sure that you register it in the state where you live and work to comply with all the state rules where you are. And that's going to be the foreign LLC. Now, the benefit to doing it this way is that you don't need to form a new EIN number, you don't need to set up new bank accounts, anything like that. You just need to form the LLC in the state where you live. And here comes another plane. However, the downside to registering your LLC as a foreign LLC in your own home state is that now you have the problem where you have to be filing two separate filing fees for the LLCs. You're going to have to file an annual report each year in both states. You're going to have to comply with the state requirements in both states. So basically you're operating two LLCs in two different states even though it's the same LLC. And so you can see why that is an issue, or that is a problem that I like to try and avoid for my clients. And this is another reason why I say just file your LLC in your own personal state. Which leads us to the second option, and this may not be available to all of you. It really depends on the state where you live as well as the state where you filed your LLC. Now, you're going to be looking to see if the state where you live and the state where you filed have what's called a domestication statute. If they do have a domestication statute, what that means is you can domesticate the LLC that you already filed in the other state into the state where you live and work. And you're going to do this by filing articles of domestication in your current state. Once you have filed those articles of domestication in the state where you live and work, then you can go ahead and dissolve the LLC in the other state, and everything's going to transfer over. You're not going to need to get a new EIN number. You're going to be fine. You don't need to set up new bank accounts if you do it this way, which is actually a kind of a cool process. So that's the second best option. The third option, which is the only other option available to you if you do not want to file as a foreign LLC and your state does not have a domestication statute, is that you just need to form a new LLC in the state where you live and work, and you're going to dissolve the LLC in the other state. Now, the main drawback to doing it this way is that when you form that new LLC, you have to set up a new tax ID number or an EIN number. You have to set up new bank accounts in your state where you live. So those are your three options in terms of if you've already filed your LLC and you filed it in the wrong state. Now, if you like this video, you're going to love this other video that I did right here that talks about all the different mistakes that I see people making when they are getting ready to form and when they're actually forming their LLC. So make sure you check that out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching today, folks. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.